Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the Pixel Princess of Doom herself,
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Overboss. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right, Overboss combines drafting, set collection, and puzzly tile laying set in the retro-inspired pixel art world of Boss Monster. Each turn, players draft and place their terrain tiles and monster tokens on their personal board. Their goal, to craft the map with the greatest power and become the ultimate Overboss.
Of Doom!
Or whatever you want. So, Will, why did we get this?
Well, we've been longtime supporters of the Boss Monster from Brotherwise Games.
Yes.
And this one of the designers we actually know, Kevin Russ.
Yeah, and we were looking forward to trying a new game set in the same world.
Yep.
And it looked it looked fun.
Yep.
So let's talk about what we do like about the game. It's got the, it's a tile scoring game that's actually interesting to us.
Yes.
It has complexity, but the complexity is not in the shape of the tiles. And what I mean is the square tiles are much easier for both of us to comprehend than other tiles that can be hex or polyominoes.
Yeah, due to my vision issues, I usually get a little overwhelmed by a hex tile. So having these square tiles in a confined either 3x4 or 4x4 grid makes it very a good cognitive load for me to keep everything in mind and what I'm doing.
And kind of the same for me, just not for a vision reason, but for just a cognitive mental reason. I prefer the smaller, more streamlined space so that it's not so sprawling. It's kind of like why I also like the Verdant, because you are using cards, which are rectangles, but it's also a constrained space. Other ones that can sprawl out can just be a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Also, we like the theme. I mean, it's kind of what drew us to Boss Monster, is this video game evil boss kind of perspective that we've seen some people try, but not necessarily that well. And you don't see it that much in the board game space. So that was really fun.
Yeah.
The two-sided boards, just the fact that you can choose whether to play a short game or a long game, just depending on how you feel, that's just a great variability to choice.
Yeah, either you're playing with 12 map tiles or 16 map tiles.
Right.
It doesn't actually change the setup of everything, so there's no like sorting anything out. You're still just grabbing the same pieces, mixing them up. It's just which side of the board.
Right, it's how long do you want to play in this space? And yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I think that covers everything we like about the game. So what we don't like, I know for me, it's more of an issue for me than you, but I did not like the command cards. It just adds an additional cognitive layer that I just don't want in the game. And while we typically use the manipulative abilities on our own boards, there's potential for negative player interaction by being able to modify the other player's board.
Yeah, it's one more thing to think of, and I think sometimes I would ask, like, well, did you qualify for anything? And you're like, oh yeah, okay, I guess I'll use this, maybe.
Don't really want to.
Don't want to.
Yeah.
I think it came more down to, like, I don't want to.
Right.
I already planned carefully enough that I don't need to use them.
Yeah. So for me, it was just I don't want to deal with it. And there were points where I couldn't figure out a good use to just make my board better. And I really didn't want to look at Will's board to see how I could mess it up. I just didn't want that extra additional analysis.
Yeah, it's like
necessary.
I have to pay attention to you too.
Yeah.
God.
So just for me, I didn't care much for them one way or another type of thing. The unpredictability in the game, and we talk about this a little in our Rolling with Two, is just the tiles and the tokens and the way they come out. I understand the need for variability, but just it gets to the point where there's so many more tiles that in the game than you use, especially at a 2-player count, that you just can't plan, and it just really undermines player agency in the game.
Yeah, and I know what a lot of people are thinking. It's like, well, this is a tile scoring game. Do you really need to have that foreknowledge? If you're not playing with the boss cards, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And then the game's perfectly fine. However, some of the boss cards will have scoring opportunities for certain things to come out, and those things may never come out. Like, for example, let's say a boss card will score bonuses whenever you do things with dungeons. Mm-hmm. I saw one dungeon, and Sarah took it. So, no.
You're out of luck.
Type of thing.
And that can actually be significant because sometimes our scores, the differences were the points earned by that boss card. And if you just randomly got lucky or unlucky due to the boss card, it really feels, I don't know, it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And so like we said, the 2-player experience, there's just too many tiles.
Yeah, 68 tiles in total, same number of tokens, and your boards are either only 12 or 16 large, so that will tell you when the game ends, is when that board gets filled up.
Yeah.
So more than half the tiles aren't used.
I almost wish, so as much as setup's kind of a bear anyways, because you're taking 6 tile stacks and mixing them up together, I kind of wish it said, okay, use half the amount of each stack for a 2-player game and then mix it up, because then 1, you'd be mixing up fewer tiles, and 2, you'd be more likely to get something going.
Yeah. You'll see a thing happen.
Right. But that's neither here nor there, because that's not how they designed the game.
Right.
So who this is for, I would think a lot of video game fans, especially those who like the role-playing style video games and
the retro style.
Retro style, definitely, are going to really enjoy this because you get to be the baddie.
Yes. Also, this is fairly decent for a casual gamer, provided you start them off without, bringing in the command cards or the boss cards, because you can actually play a simpler version, play the short game, and then you can actually then level them up and I'll start adding in those extra things so that if they become the hardcore gamer or you're the hardcore gamer, you have that extra room for a wider band of who this is for. Yeah,
because this is definitely on the lighter, kind of like light medium, so
yeah.
Hardcore gamers could enjoy, we do enjoy the simpler game without the boss monster cards, but then it's just a light experience.
Yes.
And that's, the way it is. Okay, I guess we should move on to our ratings.
So, for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Boss Monster roll for you?
It rolled a 4. I really enjoy this game. I like the drafting. I like the tile laying. It's just got those few things that I'm just not quite happy with, like the unpredictability, and I would prefer not to play with the negative player interaction, like the command cards. I'm the type of person, like, let me build my thing, you build your thing, and then we'll just compare at the end and see who did the best, which this game generally gives me that experience, and that's what I want out of the game.
For me, it also gets a 4. It's one of those weird games where I haven't played it in a while, and I have this image of it. Mm-hmm. And when I sit down and play it, like, oh, it was not that what I was thinking at all. Usually it's a lot lighter than what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I think it's like a heavier game when I'm away from it than what it is.
Maybe because it's a big box and there's a lot of choices?
It's either that or the fact that some of these tiles, learning them all in a session can be a lot.
That's true. When you're learning them for the first time.
For the first time. And there is a lot of variety in the box.
Right.
So you have
10
dungeon tiles that you always play with, and then 10 different tiles that'll have their own scoring metrics.
And you only use 5 per game.
Yeah, and some of those even have placement. Like, for example, the volcano comes in. You have to do something to the board before you settle down and go, okay, now it's sitting there, now I can do other things within score as it's meant to be. So just because it has all these little extra rules, I always blow it up in my head as being a bigger game than it is, but it's actually smaller, tighter, and lighter than what I ever expect.
But you still enjoy it when you sit down.
Yes, I still enjoy it when I sit down. It's just I can't necessarily bring it up to say, oh, let's totally play this because I guess I'm partly like paralyzed by it.
Oh, you're intimidated a little bit by...
just a bit.
So you're like, you want to play Overboss, but you think it's going to be heavier than what it is.
Yeah, so I'm like, let's find a lighter game than that. And you're like, this is pretty light.
Yeah. For us, I mean, now that we've learned how they work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but 8 out of 12, pretty good score.
Yes.
For Overboss.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah.
Yes.
What is your evil 8-bit pixelated boss monster name?
Meeplesaurus.
Ooh.
What about you?
Beep bop boop of doom.
I'm guessing you're a robot?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes, that's binary. 4. We've been rolling with reviews of Doom. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.